Before I get into this commentary, I'm going to say this. Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the Bulls, Jerry Krause, the former manager, not manager, this Bulls general manager, and Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan are jerks, right along with Bill Wennington. If you watch The Last Dance, you know ultimately it's going to be about making Michael Jordan to look good, but at the same time get bits and pieces of who Jordan is. Jordan, if you go back and listen to Michael Jordan Hall of Fame speech, he was bitter. He was bitter from high school. He was bitter in college, and he was bitter that he didn't get his way or get to do the things he wanted, because when he came to Chicago, and I remember nobody was talking about the Chicago Bulls, and they're not exaggerating that every other team in Chicago people wouldn't watch. The Bulls, they was giving tickets away, and people still wasn't going to watch them. Yes, Michael electrified the crowd. Yes, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player to ever put sneakers on. Let's call it what it is. And I know it's unfair to compare Michael to various eras, but Michael did take the league into the next level. But there were other players as well. Michael would have never won those 6 titles if it wasn't for his teammates. And Scottie Pippen often gets ignored or gets disrespected. Phil Jackson get more credit than he deserved. Phil Jackson was blessed to belong to 2 teams that had superstars. Yes, Phil Jackson won a championship when he was a player, but he had teammates that were superstars and great players at that time. Now that doesn't take away from Phil Jackson. It's just that the thing is he bucked up to give it the Bulls at the right time. People need to remember, Doug Collins got fired because Michael Jordan went in that office and started yelling. Because it was a big thing when Doug Collins got fired and Phil Jackson took over. I remember when the Bulls could never make it past a certain point in the playoffs, when the Pistons and the Knicks and them was beating the crap out of Michael. Michael would walk the court like he was in tears. It wasn't until he started bulking up and trusting his team that he won. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for the stars of the team of the era or the bench players, Bulls never won their first championship, second or third, and they damn sure they wouldn't won it without Dennis, Hart, Kerr, and of course Scottie Pippen. Now, depending where you at, they would call Michael Jordan Superman, but Superman doesn't have a sidekick. The closest thing he got would be Lois Lane. And I don't think they wanted to refer to Scottie Pippen as Lois Lane. But if you're a comic book fan, you know Superman and Batman was buddies. And sometimes they would refer to Scottie as Batman. Then after a while, they started referring to Jordan as Batman and Scottie as Robin. And I always thought that was an insult. Because when Scottie came into the league, he was oppressive. Now, did he grow in his role? Yeah, and people need to remember, Scottie carried that team. If it wasn't for the refs, the Bulls would have been in the championships that year that Mike retired. People forget Pip game stepped up. 3 points, all kinds of things. And you have to remember, Phil Jackson disrespected Scottie, even though they won the game, and thank God for Kukoc, he was able to shoot that shot. But Phil Jackson took Scottie out after Scottie carried the team. That's one of the reasons why Scottie, that famous chair incident that to this day the Chicago media talks about. Now, the Chicago media dare not talk about Michael in that way. Or they maybe make low-key comments about Michael, but the Chicago media never want to play y'all the early interviews of Michael and how he carried himself. Just like they don't play y'all the early shit of Oprah Winfrey. Because once they reach that plateau of super mega stardom and they generate money for a lot of other people, they dare not. Even in Michael retirement, they dare not show those clips. I was just online with my relatives, and we was talking about it, and everybody agreed Scottie deserved to do what he did. Michael said Scottie was wrong. Of course, you're gonna say that. You was getting all the big contracts. When the Bulls won, they said Michael and the Bulls. They didn't say the Bulls. They said Michael and the Bulls. Or they said Phil Jackson, Michael and the Bulls. And Scottie explained why he took that contract. He had a father that had a stroke and was paralyzed. He had a brother that was paralyzed in a freak accident. Remember, Scottie is one of 12 kids. So at that time, 18 million looked like a lot of money to a young brother. But he didn't know the NBA was going to take off like that. Remember, Michael Jordan wasn't making any money. People forget that he was getting lowballed and he had to redo his contract. And to hear Jerry Reinsdorf say, I told Scottie not to take it, since when the owner going to tell a player not to take a contract? He could have easily went to Ryan Krause and said, yo, man, nah, we're going to give more than that. See, I'm old enough to remember the games and the interviews and things of that nature. See, I give Michael Jordan credit on the damn court. Every black kid, or every kid in America, especially every black kid that hopes growing, going into play high school basketball, college, making the NBA, emulated Michael Jordan. Look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe studied Michael to a T. Even the man mannerisms, how he walked, how he jumped up and down. Kobe was like a clone of Michael. There's video on YouTube where they play both guys. Kobe got the exact same mannerisms. That's why Kobe was able to do what he did, because he studied Mike. And plus his father was a basketball player, so it was already in his genes. But Scottie doesn't get the respect like he should. You know, you hear people say Scottie is arrogant, and people say, well, I asked Scottie. Of course Scottie is mad. Because all that time, y'all treated him like, oh, he was a nobody. Scottie was on all-star teams. People need to realize there was games when Michael didn't every night then go out there and be spectacular. There were times Scottie had to carry that game. See, we like to rewrite history. And like I said, when Mike first came to the Bulls, you know, I saw they trying to say Mike was a homebody. Yeah, at certain points he was. But I remember when Mike used to go on the west side and south side and go pick up with the neighborhood dudes. I remember when people said, oh, we heard Michael Jordan was at this club at time. See, it wasn't until about 88, 89 that Michael image started to change. That's why, if you remember, his mother started hanging around him a lot. Because she and David Funk got his former manager, they got together. That's when Mike started wearing the suits. That's why Michael Jordan started to talk more like he was smarter than he really was. And he came across, even to this day, it come across stiff and unnatural. I'm not going to romanticize the guy, but Scottie, they low-key tried to make like Scottie was the reason that the Bulls broke up. It was Krause. He had been wanting to break up the team. It was rumors back when Rodman came the first season, and they wanted to break up the team. Because they said Scottie and Michael was picking on him. Mike picked on Krause more than Scottie. Scottie didn't start having issues with Krause when Krause started badmouthing him in the press. And we know why Krause wanted to check Jordan and Scottie. Ain't stupid. Now it's funny how Reinsdorf can go override Krause when it came to Scottie's contract. But when it came to Phil Jackson, what did they do? Give him one more year, give him a bump in pay. But they didn't do that to Scottie. Because they figured, nigga, you're a ball player, stay in your place. And for Michael to say Scottie is selfish, Mike had issue with his contract too. Remember when people said Mike was getting lowballed too? Mike has no room to be critical of anybody. Former Bull Craig Hodges, when they won their third championship, or their second championship, excuse me, they went to the White House when Bush was in office. And or was it the first championship? It was either first or second championship. Anyways, when Craig Hodges went, he went dressed in African garb. Because, you know, Craig Hodges was that type of brother. Craig Hodges grew up in the Chicago area. Craig Hodges he was the leading three-point shooting in the NBA. And a lot of people forget that. They don't talk about Craig Hodges. They act like to think that he doesn't exist. I mean, in the last few years, you may have seen people talk about Craig Hodges. when Craig Hodges said he's going to the White House to meet the president, he said, why don't he take something to give to see if the president would be willing to talk or approach these issues in our community, since everybody else wasn't doing what they supposed to do. And the upper Reinsdorf and Krause got mad. And Craig thought that Michael was a friend. Michael like, fuck him. That's his issue. People forget that Mike used to talk shit and Bill Cartwright was going to beat his ass. They had to keep Bill off of him. People forget that Mike and Steve Curry had Mike got in the fights. And then, I don't know if y'all saw what the guy said, you want to hug me? And Mike looked at him like he was a piece of shit. And the guy said, I just hugged your boys. Now, a lot of people say, because Michael had his killer instinct, he wanted to win. Yeah, he had a winning streak, but Michael started to believe it was hype. His head got big. He's sort of like Donald Trump. You go for a long period of time of everybody stroking you and saying you're the best thing since sliced bread, you start to believe it. A lot of people forget the interviews that Michael gave when he was in Chicago. I mentioned this years ago, or recently, I can't remember, I think recently as well, in my commentary about the starter jackets. People need to remember, Mike came in the league in '84. Within maybe 3 months, Mike was setting the league on fire. The stadium started to fill up and sell out. So people started to take note. Anything Michael touched. Because Michael, like most stars at that time, local, you sign up. Mike signed up with McDonald's, doing commercials for McDonald's locally. Then he went national. He was doing commercials for Chevy, the Chicagoland Chevy. The Blazer. He did a lot of commercials for the Blazer at one time. He was doing advertisement for clothing stores here in the area. But at that time, people started noticing that people were buying more gym shoes, basketball apparel, because of Mike's popularity. I mean, we know that All-Star, you had Converse, Chuck Taylor All-Stars, Adidas was hot at one point and everything. But at that particular time, Nike, Reebok, British Knights, and LA Gear was the shoe to beat. More so Nike, British Knights, and LA Gear. Because I even think Michael Jackson was associated with LA Gear, or was it British Knights? I think it was LA Gear at one point. I remember LA Gear was geared more towards the female crowd, and and whatnot. Now you're gonna say, wait a minute, Michael Jackson going no. They had started slowly but surely changing over more to the male crowd, but at first it was women that really wore LA Gear more than anything. But anyways, it wasn't British Knights. I think it was more LA Gear. But anyways, the starters started producing sports teams jackets. You had the Blackhawks. The most popular was the Blackhawks and the Bulls. Obviously the Bulls because of the championship. I mean the playoffs and Michael Jordan. And much later the championships. And the Blackhawks just simply because of the design, the Blackhawk design. Yeah, people rock the Cubs and the Sox, but the Bulls and the Blackhawks was the jacket to get. And what happened was every kid wanted the starter jacket and the starter hat and a pair of Jordans or LA Gear, British Knights, or Reeboks. But more so Nike, LA Gear, British Knights. Now remember, me and my brother and sister wanted the Jordans and the starter jackets. But one day we came home from school, and in the living room, our parents had the starter jackets for each of us laying on the couch with the hats. And my sister got a pair of LA Gear shoes, and me and my brother had Jordans. And I can still remember this day, like it wasn't even our birthdays, it wasn't even Christmas. It was the fall, I would say, or was it spring? We moved over on that. Let me see. I think that was either. It was the fall of '89, if I remember correctly. I mean, what was it? Let me see. '88. No, spring of '89. I think it was barely out of winter. No, yeah. It was still winter going into the spring, something like that. But anyways, it's been 30-something years, folks. So anyways, we was parents. You know how you try it on, you walk around, your parents look at it, and I remember we had a debate because sometimes back then, they do it now. Used to keep this for some reason. I don't know why we did this. Used to keep the damn tag on for some reason to make it because there were people doing bootlegs around, the Asian stuff. So I guess that was a way of saying we got the real thing. And my mother said, "Don't you ain't walking around like you're gonna take that tag and stuff off." So what happened was the 4 o'clock news came on, or was it the 4:30 news? But anyway, it was Lester Holt. Because Lester Holt was still at CBS, and that's when he had the mustache and he was on, and Linda McClendon and all of them was there, and they was talking about another shooting in Chicago over starter jackets. That's when the robbery started popping up, and that's when my mother and father turned on the TV because we supposed to go out to Horn Inn at night, and my mother and them said, "Take the jackets off," and me and my brother looked at each other, and I said, "Uh-oh." And they started talking about this kid got shot for his jacket. He didn't give it up fast enough. And they started talking about these series of robberies the last few months or whatever. And I guess my parents wasn't really paying attention at the time to the news because their business was popping. And they had Johnny Morris, if I'm not mistaken, was still at CBS. And they had the microphone in front of Mike, coming from the game. They said, "Mike, how do you feel about the robberies and the increase with starter jackets and them taking your Jordans off kids?" And Michael could have gave an answer, say that's sad, but he didn't. But he went further. He said, "He's sad, but it's parenting, which is true, but not all the time." And he said, "I have no control of that. That's not my problem." And my father said, "What?" They said the shit is too high as it is now. Mind you, my parents bought it because, like most kids, you handle your parents for shit. And if you ask your parents to handle them the right way, they're gonna feel guilty. They're gonna want their kids to have the best or what they perceive to be the best. So my father said, "You know what, this guy," he said, "This dude," well, he didn't say dude, but he said, "This mother gave this kind of answer." And even as a kid, I'm like, ugh, that wasn't a good answer, Mike. So my father said, "You know what? I'm not risking my kids getting shot or stabbed over damn coats." He said, "We taking that back and getting some other coats." And my mother agreed with him. Now, mind you, we caught the bus to school. So we wasn't standing on the corner or walking down the street by ourselves. Now, there was times we went to the store, walked up to the store to go get something if my mother couldn't get to the grocery store, my father. And my parents said they're just not going to take their risks. So guess what they took back? That starter jackets, those starter caps, and those Jordans. Now my sister got to keep up LA gear, but her jacket had to go back too. Because they didn't care. Because some people stealing that stuff to get money for drugs or for gifts for their kids or something, for their birthdays or whatever. That was the first and last time my parents ever bought us something like that ever again. It wasn't until a year after the Bulls' last championship that I said, "I'm going to go buy me a pair of Jordans." And I wish to God I never did, because them things didn't last 3 months. All that money. I remember the kids going to school, cutting class, just to go say they got a pair of Jordans. And the sad part, and I say this again, the Chicago Stadium, then when they tore it down right across the street, they built the Niner Center. Mike and them was in the neighborhood, and they had nothing to do with the people in the Chicago area on that side of town. Yeah, you had them do some Scottie Pippen and B.J. Armstrong, Horace Grant, whatever other bull at the time that would go into the neighborhood in various schools. But Mike couldn't be bothered unless it was a bunch of white kids around. And you see how that guy was putting the mic on, and he asked Mike, "May I get an autograph?" And Mike looked at him. Now I get it that sometimes you get tired of signing autographs, and sometimes you do it, you don't sign it because you can't sign everybody. But the way Mike looked at the guy, and I told y'all when me and my friends went down when it was the Chicago Stadium was standing, and Mike came in and one of his, what was it, either his Lamborghini, I believe it was a Lamborghini, one of those foreign cars. I don't think it was his vet. but he came in, got out of his car, went and signed all the white kids autographs. He may have signed maybe one or two black kids, and the rest of us, he just looked at us and kept on about his business. When they opened up that Michael Jordan father's James Jordan Boys and Girl Club, the kid, it was a lot of, it's funny how a lot of white kids was up in there who didn't even live in the area. Now I know people gonna say that was 20-something, 30-something years ago. Like I said, I give Michael Jordan credit on that court. I give Phil Jackson and Krause to a certain degree for creating the supporting cast. But Scottie Pippen, if not without Scottie Pippen, Mike would have never done it. Could never done it. And for people, for them, for this last dance, the sort of the Jackson and Mike and Bill Wellington and them to low key throw Scottie under the bus is wrong. And Scottie said, and Scottie gave this. Remember, y'all, we did that to Derrick Rose. He said the same thing. Derrick said, I'm not gonna injure myself for this damn team if you don't appreciate me. Remember, Pax is that connection to this team. You can't forget that. If you notice how the team treated Mike and Scottie, if you valued them, you would have had them in some type of coaching position, or you would have said, hey, these are star players. These are the people who, and Michael is right, they built they made it where fans come in. The Bulls made the NBA what it was. Yes, there was other teams, but the Bulls was the draw. I was in Iraq and they had images of Michael and Scottie around, let alone images of Batman and Superman. That tells you something. Two black dudes from the South going to the NBA and leading practically every damn thing. Both men and people. I had to remind people when Mike was gone, Scottie got down there, got to the championship. If it was for the refs giving bad calls, and didn't they admit to it about 10 years ago or so, saying that they did it on purpose? And the media sort of like whatever. They don't even talk about that when Scottie carried that, but they talk about when Scottie threw that chair. They talk about when Scottie wanted to trade, and he had every right to say he wanted to trade. And then they said Scottie started disrespecting Krause. He went too far. So you can disrespect the black man. You can lowball him. You can get in front of the press and throw shade at him. But the moment he speak up, he's in the wrong. See what it is? They figured what a lot of us have said. They figure they got slaves, high paid or not. Scottie was 122 in pay in the NBA. That means rookies and players that wasn't even half as good as him was making more money than him. You heard what Riser say, once you sign your contract, don't be coming back here. That's it. I don't want to hear it. But didn't he say at the beginning of it, he told Scottie not to sign him. He could easily told Krause, and he said, no, we're not going to do this to Scottie. We're not going to lock this man in that kind of contract. But Scottie explained because he had responsibilities. He was taking care of his family. And Michael could have easily, but I tell you, Mike didn't have the juice that he thought he had. Because if Mike had that kind of juice he had, Phil Jackson, Scottie, Dennis, Ron, and them would have been back for the 99 season. The 98-99 season. But then again, over the last few years, Phil Jackson have thrown shade at Mike. But Mike was out there loyal to Phil Jackson. Remember when he was at the Lakers? Go look at something. See, a lot of us forget these interviews. Just like I say in my videos, a lot of us forget a lot of things. And to sit there, they said they shot this back in the Bulls' last championship run. That was 20-something years ago. It took you 20-something years to do a doc like this. And you know why it took 20-something years. Certain people didn't want you to see it, and they had to make sure they edited shit. The other day when Mike was on TV, he was worried how people was going to view him. Now, those of us who remember Mike, how he was in Chicago, and saw beyond the smoke and mirrors, know he's an arrogant jerk. great basketball player, but a suck-ass human being. And you want to make Scottie, and Michael said, yes, Scottie was wrong. Scottie was being petty. Says the guy that's a billionaire. If you are Scottie, and he said, Scottie's my best friend. If you respect Scottie, you say, Scottie, come work in my organization. But remember, Michael, just like Oprah, he surrounded himself with white guys. And them same white guys is probably the reason why his daddy met an untimely demise. That's why Michael sat down that year. See, don't rewrite history and make it like, oh, he was just burnt out. If you had that kind of winning, that type of winning mentality, you ain't gonna quit. You're gonna keep going. Nah, they told his ass, go sit your bald head ass down. He realized he lost one parent. He didn't want to lose another one. He had siblings. Scottie carried that team. And nobody wants to give credit where credit due. And Phil Jackson disrespected Scottie numerous times. And Scottie was respectful to Phil. But that last season, Scottie said, I know my worth. The Bulls will not be who they are. And the thing is, Reinsdorf got fatter by owning the Bulls. Because a lot of people don't know that Reinsdorf owned the Sox. You don't think that helped the Sox build redo that stadium, the new Comiskey Park? The NBA got fat off these dudes. And then when these dudes get used up, they dismiss them. Look how Steve Kerr, don't get me wrong, I like Steve Kerr. He's a cool white dude. He was a good analysis on TV, and they gave him a coaching job. But why not Scottie Pippen? You notice the black players that should be coaching or got front positions, they not. They just made Scottie Pippen the ambassador, and they fired Scottie Pippen the other day. The Bulls wasn't shit when Michael and them wasn't there. Mike came in, he elevated the crowds. He got people butts in the seats. When Mike got the supporting players like Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, Craig Hodges, Trent Tucker, Scott Williams, Stacey King, you name it. Will Purdue, you name it. Bulls started winning. And then the second three-peat, without Rodman, they would have struggled. And they did when Rodman was suspended or wasn't on his game. And then you watch how people, now they talk about Rodman saying, well, Rodman was weird. What was Rodman? Y'all was encouraging that shit in the media. White America especially. Dennis, take the dress. Dennis, do this. And now they want to rewrite history because they know a lot of these young people never saw it. And those of us of a certain age may have forgotten or feel that it's in the past and it's not worth talking about. But if you're going to present a documentary or behind the scenes and selective edit or say or go there, then you gotta. Because I'm watching it, I'm like, you think they can make Scottie the bad guy? But that should tell these brothers, whether they're NFL, NBA, baseball, whatever, you are replaceable, and if they want to blame you or make you the face of something, they will. There are a lot of people that I know are still there are a lot of people I know who still look at Scottie Pippen with side eye because the media has made a big deal. Because if you go back and look at the interviews of the fans, oh, Scottie's selfish. They still bring up the chair incident. But I don't blame Scottie. You can carry this damn team. You go get some foreign players. And this is another thing that they don't want to talk about. How they brought Kukoc in. And if you notice why the Bulls got a losing squad, and I'm going to tell you about Chicago sports teams, they're going to make sure they keep white players on them. They're going to make sure. Look how many white coaches they've had, the Bulls, versus black. This is why when I was a kid, I was enamored with sports, but even I saw that these guys, even though they may have been making some money, or some of them wasn't, And then when these guys get broke, the media means that they broke. They're making jokes about it. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know how these guys are being steered into these contracts. This is why I say to you parents out here, you got sons or even daughters who's going to WNBA or whatever, but sons especially, when they start coming knocking to grammar school and high school, watch out. They want to send them to white universities, and they want you to have white agents. They want you to get caught up in these contracts where you can't even be yourself. But to sit back here and try to make Scottie out to be the bad guy when he got fucked over, and then Michael was supposed to be his teammate, and he could have easily said, hey, yo, Scottie. He could have easily whispered in Scottie's ear. Or he could have easily went to Reinsdorf, but see, Reinsdorf didn't respect him. Just like when Michael went to Washington, he got played. See, you guys need to understand, y'all niggas to them. No matter how talented you are niggas to them. But when you get Michael Jordan, who have a history of being backstabbed, being petty and arrogant, and you're going to turn around and tell somebody they selfish, and Michael got in fights with people because he said he wasn't stepping up. Everybody can't be like Mike. And people got their days where they not on their game. See, Mike bought into that hype about being super competitive. But Mike forget when Isaiah Washington and them had his ass crying at the end of games. Mike bought into that hype. And let's stop saying Scottie Pippen is Robin. And much as I like the character Robin, Scottie wasn't Robin. Scottie was Batman. They need to put out the best of Scottie Pippen hits on DVD. They need to repeat his stats. Cause today people in the NBA would kill for a Scottie Pippen type player. But don't let them rewrite history and have you think it's something else.